Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the Global Genes webinar on how to create an awareness day. This webinar is sponsored by Horizon Pharmaceuticals. Today's presentation is going to be by Sarah Couch, Jason Adams, and Gabriella Naidoo on how to create an awareness day for your community, foundation, or disease community. If you're joining late or having to jump off early, we are pre-recording this webinar and will be made available at a later date found on our resource hub.
As you can see, Global Genes has updated its webinar platform. This platform provides a personalized and engaged webinar experience for each attendee. It offers various widgets where you will be able to provide detailed information such as corresponding resources based on the webinar topic, a speaker bio section to provide contact information and potentially social media handles, surveys, polls, etc. You can customize your viewing to meet your needs by enlarging or minimizing each widget window. If you have trouble viewing the widgets that you're looking for, use your scroll bar to adapt it to your screen size. If you have any questions throughout this webinar, please use the Q&A widget to submit your question. We will have a Q&A session at
We will now hear from Jason Adams, co-director of the Michigan Pediatric Hydrocephalus Foundation. And
Hi.
Jason, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to join this call, and Global Genes for the opportunity and for helping to be our voice on a large scale. So my name is Jason Adams. My wife and I, we lead a family of 5 children in Michigan. I work full-time as a manufacturing engineer. I'm active co-director for the Michigan Pediatric Hydrocephalus Foundation, and I've been a patient advocate since my son's birth in 2008. Just a really brief his background. Hawk and his brother, they were both stillborn at 28 weeks due to preventable causes. Today, Hawk is 11 years old and has had 10 brain surgeries due to hydrocephalus complications, among other procedures endured. Increasing awareness in hopes of making progress toward better treatment and/or cure is very important to my family and I, and creating an awareness day can play a great part in increasing awareness for whatever worthy cause is near and dear to each one of you, affecting you or your loved one. And I just want to encourage all of you before we get this started. Before I was able to create a day where the state of Michigan recognized September as Hydrocephalus Awareness Month, I had never done this before. I had no experience doing it, so if I can do it, I know every one of you can do it. Just a recent picture of my family and I, and we'll get into what happened and how I was able to get a Awareness Day month recognized. So briefly, why should you try to create an Awareness Day or an Awareness Month? Excuse me. Well, it'll help create results, and they can be very significant, from bringing the issue that you're advocating for to people's attention that have never heard of it. I mean, that can, and also those relationships that you will build with people in the political community locally or even on a national level. Increasing awareness is almost one of those priceless values where you just don't know how much you're going to get from increasing awareness. You're going to, for your cause, it aids significantly in building the brand of your, whatever it is, the foundation you're representing for the cause or the cause general, and that's our ultimate goal, to increase the awareness for the issue that we're advocating for. You create legislative allies, and like I had said, potentially additional funding, increasing membership to help support you and your foundation or your community for the cause. Leveraging social media is a good way to start running down this road to create an awareness day. There's events to help drive it'll help drive traffic to your page if you have one, for example, on Facebook or Twitter. And once you're able to accomplish this, it gives you a sense of accomplishment and encouragement to the entire community. It really does have an impact. Sometimes when we're trying to accomplish some of these tasks, we forget that it really does have a large impact on our overall community. So I want to step back briefly. When it took me 3 years to finally get an awareness month for Michigan to sign a resolution, and I've spoken to other people who have tried to advocate for an awareness month or day, and it's a lot of similar stories. So it really requires a lot of persistence. And I mean, there was definitely a few times where I was pretty frustrated, and I put it on the back burner. I didn't work on it for a few months, and then I would go back again, always respectfully trying to interact with my elected politicians. So you want to, when you're communicating with your elected officials, you want to definitely share your personal story. It's very important. It'll help draw them into the cause and make it more intimate for them. But we got to always remember to be conscious of the time we have, whether it's in an email or during a phone call with our elected representatives and staff. And I can't encourage everybody enough to really consider every relationship with these elected officials, the staff members, everybody. Every relationship that you establish there is important to achieving your goal of creating an awareness day or a month. I call it ADM for short, because we don't have enough abbreviations already. But most of the successes, if you have a team that supports you, it's also very important to establish that. That could be your family, friends, and other people who have the same cause that's affecting them. We've got allies, Global Genes, and RDLA, Everyday Life Foundations that are centered on our specific cause, and they're critical to our success as patient advocates. And essentially, that's what we are. We're all patient advocates. Speaking with your loved ones and gaining support is a big step in being successful, especially when you're discouraged, when you're not successful the first time or second or third time. I think when I finally was able to get a successful resolution passed, it was actually a different politician than when I had initially started with. But the staff members were the same. So when I say building those relationships are important, that's another reason why. When you're able to connect with an organization such as Global Genes, RDLA, and Everyday Life, it's very important because they help to encourage. They helped me set up lobby days that I probably would not pursued without their help and them laying down a guideline for how to do that. Everybody's step will be different, obviously, in getting a day achieved, an ADM accomplishing that. So we'll go to the next slide. So just a brief story. A few years ago, I was meeting with 2 elected officials during an RDLA coordinated event with the purpose of meeting elected officials locally to encourage them to support legislation around the rare community. 2 advocates that I met, very nice people, but they had just refused to meet with another elected official because they were of opposing views of their own. I can't emphasize enough and ask you guys to challenge yourself to look beyond political differences and focus on the cause that you are fighting for. The person and community that we're advocating for is well worth overcoming this challenge. You'll be surprised who might support this cause you're advocating for, and if this elected person supports the cause, this is far more relevant than letting our political differences get between us and our advocacy goals. This is a picture of us meeting with our elected representative, Howell, and our co-director, Heather Shanks here in Michigan. Her daughter also has hydrocephalus. This is when we went to the state capitol to have the reading of the resolution read. Our other director couldn't make it, unfortunately, Donna West. But, when we first started down this road, it didn't seem like it was achievable. And after perseverance, we were able to accomplish that. So I just really want to encourage all of you, and thank you, Global Genes, for keeping our rare community in the forefront politically and in many aspects helping us to give us a united voice. Feel free to contact Global Genes or myself with any questions or concerns, and thanks to all of you for participating in this and joining us in this fight of advocacy. There's a few different ways you can contact me. Feel free to do so. I'm very responsive, and just thank you all for this time.
Thank you so much, Jason, for that wonderful presentation. We will now hear from Gabrielle, from the CDLS Foundation, who will give us a little bit more insight as to what her organization has been able to do in terms of their awareness day. So, Gabrielle, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Thank you so much. So my name is Gabriella Naidoo. I'm the Communications Coordinator at the CDLS Foundation. We are located here in Avon, Connecticut. Before we get started on how to create an awareness day, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the Foundation and CDLS. So we are a national nonprofit organization that has served individuals with CDLS and their families since 1981. We exist to ensure early and accurate diagnosis of the syndrome, promote research into the causes, and help individuals with CDLS make informed decisions throughout their lives. We also have a staff of 10 individuals, and 3 of those staff members are family service coordinators who specifically work with individuals and their families. We serve over 2,900 individuals with CDLS and their families, and that number grows every year. CDLS occurs in approximately 1 in 10,000 live births. It is now known as the CDLS spectrum disorder, and individuals with CDLS experience a range of physical, cognitive, and medical challenges. So what I've done is come up with 6 steps to help you come up with an amazing awareness day, week, or month in your community or organization. So let's get started, all right? So step 1, look into what other nonprofits or organizations are doing. Let's make sure you choose not the same date or event. We are all in this together, especially in the rare community. If possible, it's really important to make sure we don't step on each other's toes because we're not in competition. We're all in this together. Step 2, pick a date and name of your day. So when you're picking the day, think about the following. When do you host your biggest fundraiser? When is member engagement at the lowest? And is there a specific date or day you'd like to choose? Looking at those factors can help you choose the date of your awareness event. Do you want to boost excitement when you host your biggest fundraiser of the year? Do you want to re-engage membership during a lull at a certain time of year? For example, if the second quarter of your year, there's not a lot of membership engagement, that might be the perfect time to have your annual awareness event. And if there's a specific date of the year that's really meaningful, like if that's when you started your organization, that might be the perfect date to have your awareness event. For example, we host our Awareness Day on the second Saturday of May every year rather than an actual date. Our first Awareness Day was May 20th, 1989, so we just had our 30th year. And it was originally an international CDLS tag sale. In our newsletter, Reaching Out, we laid out guidelines and why the foundation was doing the event. It was the vision of the Parent Advisory Board at the time to help boost public awareness of CDLS in general and the foundation in particular. When we had our second annual Awareness Day come around, individuals who were not able to participate in a tag sale, they wanted to be able to host their own event, and that's when the foundation opened that day to be more customizable. And it's also really important when naming your event to keep it very simple yet meaningful. Make sure your cause is named. Our Awareness Day is named the National CDLS Awareness Day. Simple yet tells people what we're doing. So as you see here, these are some things that we really keep important to us, why we have our National CDLS Awareness Day in May, and some of the things that we do each year. Step 3, identify and work with passionate volunteers to help promote your awareness event. The best place to find volunteers is in your community. Many of our volunteers are parents of individuals with CDLS. I work specifically with a group of individuals who I recruited to raise awareness throughout the year. I recommend doing the same thing. There are people in your community that are passionate in letting others know about what their loved one or themselves is going through. And I recommend those are the people that you work with right away. So the group that I work with, we call them awareness coordinators. It's a perfect volunteer opportunity to get these people engaged in what you do on a day-to-day basis. So an awareness coordinator in our organization is a volunteer who raises awareness about CDLS through community activities or events, outreach to professionals and government leaders, and contacts the media. They're typically family members or caregivers and are passionate about increasing awareness of the syndrome. So I work with these passionate volunteers to help them get invigorated and excited about what we're going to do each year on an Awareness Day. And I talk to them about what they're thinking about, what they want to do to get involved in what their own local community involved in an Awareness Day event. When it gets closer to our Awareness Day, I rely heavily on my awareness coordinators who are located throughout the United States to plan their events. I help them get their events ready with supplies, media attention, talking points, and if they're planning a fundraiser, which many of them do, the fundraiser that goes along with their event, I get them in touch with our development department so they can streamline that process as well. It's a very well-oiled machine when you have Awareness Day and a fundraiser that goes along. So that's also another really important piece of the puzzle, is to make sure that you have a fundraiser component set up when you're working on a Awareness Day. Step 4, decide how you want your community to participate. It is really important ahead of time to know what you want your community to do. Do you want them to wear a certain color? For example, if your colors are red and orange, do you want them to have wear red day? For us, it's purple. Sometimes people do dress down for purple day. Do you want them to post specific content on media? Do you want them to have a specific event, like when we did the tag sale the first year? This will largely be determined by the theme of your day. So it's really important to know how you want them to participate with you on your day of the event. Some examples, some examples of what we've done are a countdown to Awareness Day on social media. So you have a week leading up to Awareness Day, and each day we do a countdown with a fact about CDLS or the foundation. Specific hashtags like CDLS awareness, CDLS strong, those really engage our social media following. Videos announcing this Awareness Day by our families. Again, get your families and community members involved in Awareness Day. Different events, such as a lemonade stand, and you give them a recipe. Like I said, one of our colors is purple, so lemonade and lavender with the purple background. Elevator pitches. These are really important. I will talk briefly on them in another slide, but these are really important if you have someone that's uncomfortable speaking to the public, speaking to the media. These are 30-second pitches that they have in their back pocket that gives them a passionate speech about why CDLS is important to them, Awareness Day is important to them, and it's right there, and they have the comfort of knowing they can get what they need to say in 30 seconds or less. Step 5, create a place where all your information is located. This should be on your website. You will need a page dedicated to information about your day. This page should house all necessary resources, including items that will help individuals and businesses participate, promote the day, and become a resource themselves. Shareable online content that is perfect for social media. Think graphics, videos, temporary profile pictures, and cover photos, pre-written tweets, posts, Instagram photos, things on a large scale. Also, it should house materials that are important to what you're raising awareness about. This is in case visitors want to learn more and promote your cause beyond the day itself. If you have a digital bookmark, put it up there so they can print it out. Things like that. Make it readily available for them to have it. Also, links to your social media channels and hashtags you'll be using should also be on this page. So on our website, you can find our resources for Awareness Day under the Get Involved tab and then Raise Awareness. Right there, right at the top. It is really important that your Raise Awareness information on your website is above the fold, meaning when someone goes to your website, they don't have to scroll for it. They don't have to look for it. If anybody's interested, they can find it right away and they don't get discouraged. Especially if you're an events-based organization or just starting off creating an awareness event, you don't want them to not be able to find it and not want to continue wanting to do this event for you. Also, depending on how your website's laid out, you'd also have it on your main page as your home page image. So where we have the established community, if you have an image there that's clickable, that could be your Raise Awareness information. It's really dependent how your website's laid out. It just needs to be front and center. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold, so my throat's a little scratchy. So on this page, after you click into our Raise Awareness, we have a whole page explaining why we raise awareness, how to get involved, and then we have a section that on this page specifically dedicated for Awareness Day. And then it lays out different ways to get involved. These are the different modules. And this is also really important because people can understand the module, understand the different ways, and there's clickable and printable information. Under our social media module, you can join our Facebook page. When it gets closer to Awareness Day, we add our temporary profile and cover pictures. So for example, last year we had specific images for 2019 Awareness Day. Our graphic designer will create ones for 2020 Awareness Day. Under the education module, this is where a parent can find materials to bring into their child's school, including a coloring sheet and a word search. And they're branded for our foundation. We have pens, pencils, and other collateral in the office that we can send to presenters to help engage students in any way. The next module in our Awareness Day setup is Awareness Day proclamations. This is really important to utilize. So, especially when you're getting first started. Proclamations, if you aren't sure what they are issued for noteworthy state or local events that deserve special recognition. These public service documents are courtesy and are strictly honorary and are not legally binding, but they are a big deal. So many states have downloadable requests on their local page, official websites, but we like to have branded materials for our volunteers to use when they make requests. So every year, we have about 4 to 5 families that do proclamation requests, and we've had families, for example, last year, they went to their official government floor and had their proclamation read in front of their government officials. So it can become a big deal. So it not only lets the family feel recognized, it lets the government officials understand what CDLS is and really gets them understanding how important it is to understand about rare syndromes and rare diseases, and that's really what it's about. The next 2 modules are really interchangeable. I mentioned this before, the elevator pitches. Elevator pitches are 30-second stories that are meant to help our volunteers tell their story to a particular audience. We have some for volunteers. We have some for board members. We have some for parents. We have them for staff. We have them for siblings, specifically designed for them to tell their story. The media outreach model has a sample letter to the editor that individuals can use to let media know about their upcoming event, and talking points to help volunteers talk about Awareness Day and their event to either a crowd or a reporter that can interview. And they're just a list of talking points telling them about what CDLS is, where we're located, when we start it, what we do, why it's important, those types of things. We also provide different ideas for our volunteers on our Ways Awareness page. We know, we understand that not every volunteer is the same. And we want them to feel that whatever they do matters. So we have these different ideas if they want to just leave bookmarks at their library, if they want to put a booth, they want to do a booth at their son's baseball game, if they want to do a booth at the farmer's market. We like to just have other awareness ideas that they can come up with, because no matter what they do, it really matters to us and matters to us, and we appreciate it. So the last step, step 6, is be active on the day. Post on social media. Engage with others who are participating. Share photos and videos from your community. And if possible, go live. If you have family members, have them go live and talk about it. Use the hashtags. Just get the engagement up. I just want to show you some photos from our last Awareness Day. If you notice, many of the families are wearing a similar shirt that say CDLS Strong. This is one of our hashtags that we use. This is another great idea. Every year we run a fundraiser for Awareness Day. In 2019, we had a contest to engage our social media followers to design an image to be the t-shirt design. The image you see is the winner. Small things like that can really pique your community's excitement and interest and make them feel like they're involved with what you're doing as an organization. Another important thing to remember, trademark your logo. This is important if others will be using it. Our logo is trademarked. We don't want people to change the color, change the way it's stretched or scrunched. We don't want people writing in it. It's really important to have that trademarked. We have a logo usage policy everyone signs when they ask to create an image with the heart logo. People get really creative with our heart logo. You'll see in a couple slides, one family held a cookie sale. It was something really creative, and it incorporated into a fundraiser and an Awareness Day event. After our Awareness Day event, here's some more images. Someone put together a tub with all of our information. The bottom left, that was when the proclamation was read on the floor in Arizona. So after our Awareness Day event, we receive a lot of images. It's really important that you thank your volunteers and event hosts. We post images on our social media and in our newsletter, Reaching Out. We dedicate a spread to thanking everyone who took the time to raise awareness. It is something that I encourage you all to do after your event. These individuals took the time to let their local towns, communities, or cities know about something they find important, and they could become potential donors or recurring volunteers, someone really important to your organization. And if you see at the bottom right, those are the cookies that someone created, which I think is just fantastic. So next I'm just going to briefly talk about some of the success and challenges that I find. I find that our challenges during Awareness Day are always so minimal compared to our successes. Our community is so strong, and this is really their day. I'm their support to help them get ready to share their story of hope and resilience. If I was to think of a challenge, I would think would be we're still such an unknown genetic disorder, and that can be very isolating, whether it's for the individual that has the syndrome, their family, not being able to talk to medical professionals about it. It's just a very, very isolating condition. Another challenge I think we have is to come up with resources that can be printable from our website to save on costs. We also have grown over the years, so try to way to maintain our budget and not go over it. We always want to provide fun giveaways that aren't tossed and to save on expenses. We try to maintain our budget and look into different grants. That's always important to see what grants are available to help offset your costs. We're really honoring individuals with CDLS and hoping to find more individuals who haven't been in contact with the foundation. So through all the challenges, there's really that opportunity to find more people that haven't been diagnosed, who have been diagnosed but don't know that the foundation exists. So it's all about being creative and starting small. And once the momentum grows, the ideas are endless. I really hope this presentation was helpful and gave you ideas on how to create your own awareness event in your organization. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at gnaidoo, that's GNADEAU @cdlsusa.org, and I'd be happy to help. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to kind of learn about Awareness Day and how to start one.
Thank you so much to all of our presenters. That was great. We're going to now roll over into Q&A. So please feel free to access the Q&A function on your widget bar and submit any questions that you may have.
Hi, everyone. I just want to make sure that we have Jason and Gabrielle still available on the phone with us.
Yes, Gabrielle's
Jason's
here.
online.
All right,
Gabrielle.
wonderful. Hi, everyone. Well, thank you, everyone, so much for joining us for our presentation. Before we jump into Q&A, we did want to provide an update to everyone who's joining us on our webinar. Up next, we were supposed to have Sarah Couch, but unfortunately, we just heard from her during Gabrielle's presentation that she had to be pulled into a meeting. Unfortunately, this is the hard part about working with a senator, is that the schedule can be quite unknown. She did express her deepest apologies for being unable to present today, but she has provided resources and her contact information for anyone who's interested in learning about how to approach their state government and getting an Awareness Day started. But since we don't have Sarah with us today, I would like to ask if Jason and Gabrielle, if you each would like to share maybe just your experience and approach in navigating government and what it was like to get your Awareness Day created, and just maybe take us through a little bit of that, and then we'll roll right on into Q&A. So for our audience who are joining us, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and utilize your Q&A widget. If you minimize it for the presentation, go ahead and just maximize it on your widget bar at the bottom, and go ahead and submit your questions, and we'll get to as many as we can throughout our live Q&A portion. So if Jason or Gabrielle, one of you want to just maybe share a little bit more about us, a little bit more about with us, your process in working with your state government, or what roadblocks did you have, what were some of your challenges, or how did you learn how to navigate the process? If you guys would just like to maybe just briefly share a little bit about your experience.
Hi, this is Jason Adams. Can you hear me?
Yep, we sure can.
Okay. So with my experience, it was really making a cold call to my elected officials. And also, as mentioned in the presentation, building a relationship with the staff, not just the elected official. A lot of the time, the staff members will actually be in office longer than the elected official. And really having confidence in yourself. It's something that I had never done before, but with the passion behind all of you advocates for whatever issue that you're fighting for to potentially create an Awareness Day, I would just encourage you all to try it. I mean,
if you ever have any questions or concerns, the RDLA, Global Genes, and myself, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions or concerns or help walk you through any challenges that I'm able to as well.
Great, thank you for sharing, Jason. Gabrielle, do you have any advice or maybe any tips on how to navigate the government? What challenges maybe you guys came up to? And then we have had quite a lot of questions come through, so you know, if you just want to share that with us, and then we'll jump right into some of the questions from our audience.
Absolutely. So as I came into the foundation about 2 years ago, this is pretty well established, but I do know that since this is a rare syndrome, a lot of government officials are inundated with a lot of requests and a lot of people to speak to them. So we try to have our families are encouraged themselves to tell their personal stories, to reach out to their local government officials. Really, like I said in my presentation, to start with the proclamations, because that really kind of gets your foot in the door a bit with let them knowing what day it is about, what you're advocating for. In 2006, our staff members and board went to Washington, D.C. to talk about the syndrome to local officials and elected officials. So it's really important to understand what you're talking about, who you're talking to, and also understand that they have a lot of things on their plate, and you know, you just all about patience and getting their name out there.
Great, thank you so much for sharing that, Gabrielle. And actually, that's we have a question that came up, so kind of it's great that you mentioned about the proclamation. One of our questions from our audience is, how do you create a proclamation?
So it's really simple. A lot of local officials or mayors or governors have a proclamation request on their website. What we provide on ours is just a branded letter telling the person who we are, what the day is, putting your own personal story in there, and then sending the request in. That's really how you can get a proclamation started. Just going to your state government official, your national, the DC website, and figuring out where their proclamation request lives on their website.
Great. That's really great and helpful information. So I hope everyone goes out and start getting those proclamations started. That actually also kind of brings up another question someone had, and this could be for both of you because you both approach, you know, your own officials differently. What level of elected official did both of you kind of start at, or how did you decide what level of elected official you should reach out to first?
Well, I think
Jason.
Sorry, go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
No problem. I think the approach, if you disagree with me, let me know, but I think it's kind of different based on person to person. For me, you know, there were some lobby district days that RDLA had set up, and I took advantage of those. It was almost more of an opportunistic kind of evaluating those opportunities. Sometimes there were no opportunities. It was just, you know what, I have time next week. Let me call my elected local official, or let me call and speak to the staff of my DC national elected official.
And I have to echo what Jason is saying. A lot of times we go to lobbying events on Rare Disease Day at the end of February, and we talk to the Connecticut state officials, and sometimes there's other volunteers throughout the United States that go to their local officials. So it really depends on your state officials to the federal level. It really is how big you want to go and who you're comfortable with talking to.
Great, thank you. That's really helpful, and especially helpful with Rare Disease Day coming up next month. And for those of you who will be out hopefully at Capitol Hill in DC, or even on your own state hill, this will be maybe something you want to consider bringing to your representative and really be empowered as a constituent. So this is, I think, always a great opportunity as we start to approach February and really honor our Rare Disease Day month. So thank you so much for sharing that. We had a couple logistic questions, so I just wanted to quickly touch on them. This is all being recorded, and the recording will be made available on our website next week. And for all contact information, we will be able to provide all that contact information. It will be back also on the recorded webinar as well. And then for those of you who are joining us through your computers or your tablets, you'll notice on the widget bar at the bottom that there's a widget for speaker bios. In those bios, you'll be able to actually connect with all of our speakers through email, and if they've provided any social handles as well for them or their organizations, those are also listed in the speaker bios. But again, if you do want to get in touch with them, we'd be happy to connect you guys as well, but their contact information is also in the widget. So we had a question, and it's more of just your thoughts on it. So for both of you, what are your thoughts on, and now both of you guys maybe chose different routes for specific reasons, but what are your thoughts on an awareness month versus an awareness day?
You want to answer this one first, Gabrielle?
Sure. So we started with an awareness day. It was kind of an event, like I said. It was a tag sale that we all got, because we originally started as an international foundation, and then we came to a national foundation. But we started this as a day to kind of, because we do have the constituent base, to just do it as one day to get people involved. However, people throughout the United States do events throughout the month, even though they're honoring that specific awareness day. It's throughout the month. I would think for me, it makes sense because we're a national nonprofit to have a specific day, but it really, I believe, makes sense onto what you're doing and what you're working with.
I would agree, and this is Jason. I would think also what can you manage? What is more manageable for you to run with? A day? Is it an event? Are you going to tie it in beyond just the legislative action? A lot of contributing factors to which route you go. And then even collaborating with their elected officials, I think if you pose some of those questions as well, they might be able to help you if you're just specifically looking at, hey, are we making this a month recognition or a single day recognition? I just want to emphasize that it is very significant if and when you guys achieve this. And I can't encourage you guys enough to try to go out and make this happen.
Thank you so much. What great advice, everyone. I'm loving all the questions coming through. I think it's so important for what you both are saying that, really whatever you decide to do, a month or a day, it's also about how do you plan to engage your community and own this day or own this month. So I really love it, and all the great ideas that you guys have as well from just the work you guys have both done. So really great answers. So we have a few more questions. One of our questions was, how do you balance communicating a positive, prideful message and avoid inciting pity and language about suffering, quote unquote? So how do you guys kind of keep your communication about, we want everyone to be aware of what the diseases are, but how do you not let it get to a woe is me place and try to keep it very positive, uplifting, hopeful, and prideful?
So I
think it would.
Oh,
go ahead, Gabrielle.
Jason. No, go ahead, Jason.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think it's a balance, because you do want to show that personal side and some of the struggles without too much of that struggle. I would suggest writing down kind of a script. You might not follow it to a T, and then maybe reviewing that script with a friend or somebody who's supporting you through this cause, and bouncing it off of them and trying to kind of get a feel of, hey, did it sound too complaining, or did I deliver that message of, hey, I need help? And there's definitely a balance there.
And I think, this is Gabrielle, I think for us, you have to understand you're telling your story. You're not asking for pity or, you're not talking about suffering, but people in the rare community are going through something that maybe not everybody understands. So you're telling them what's going on, how it's affecting you, and why you're raising awareness. So if you tell a personal story, which might be, if you're writing a letter, might be a paragraph, and then say why you're so engaged or involved in this community, and tell them why you want to raise awareness about it and why it really hits home for you. If you're thinking about someone from like myself, from my perspective, if I want to tell a story, I'm not going to be asking for pity. I want people to understand what I'm passionate about, and I'm passionate about raising awareness for X, Y, and Z. And if you're passionate of raising awareness for a rare syndrome that is in your life or a loved one's life, I think you write from the heart, and you're not asking for pity. You're just making them understand where you're coming.
Thank you so much. So kind of talking on that subject of just how to, communicate effectively, one of our attendees had asked, what kind of posts have you found are the most successful specifically on social media? It's a quick and easy platform a lot of us have access to, but, you have to get a lot across in, just one post, maybe one picture. So what kind of posts have you all found that's most successful?
That's you, Gabrielle.
So this is Gabrielle. So for the foundation, we definitely find when we get our family members involved, those ones are really successful. So we had a lot of, with individuals that have CDLS, some of them are nonverbal. So we had actually, if you look back on our Facebook page, there was a few last year that we got their siblings involved to announce that it was, 5 more days till CDLS Awareness Day, or today is National CDLS Awareness Day. And they just announced, it was a quick 10-second video, and it really got people engaged with it. I think right now people are really wanting to see not only short written word, but they want to hear from someone. We also had our executive director, we recorded her doing a message, just talking about hope and we're here for each other and how important this day is. So I found that the videos this year were very successful, and along with my graphic designer, when we did the countdown, they were more like gifts rather than just a picture. So it caught someone's attention, and they wanted to share it, and they wanted to see what we were talking about. So I think the movable images and the videos are the ones that are really caught our community this past year.
Yeah, I would agree. And just to reiterate, a lot of times when we're posting on social media, those posts are just coming up, while somebody's trolling or scrolling. So unfortunately, a lot of times trying to keep them short and to the point, you can't always do that with the conditions we're all dealing with and we're trying to advocate for. But sometimes that's effective as well. Definitely agree with Gabrielle, the live video and the personal ones with family members. That's great advice.
And I also wanted to just say one other thing. If you all have websites, when you do post in your social media, make sure you're driving them back to your website so they can, for example, if you have an Awareness Day page on your website, you just put, like a quick info with a video, and you link it back to your website, so you're getting that traffic going back to find out all the information you can provide, whether it's about Awareness Day, they can find your website, maybe they know someone that has this rare syndrome that is not aware that they have it. So there's just always that's a really good thought process to always get people directed back to your website from any post that you do.
Great, thank you so much, everyone. We have 2 more questions, and I just want to remind our audience we still have time for a couple more if anyone else has any last questions they want to add for Gabrielle and Jason. But we do have a couple more. So for both of you guys, and this could be different depending on whether you want a month awareness, a day, national versus state, but what do you guys find was the typical timeline from start to finish?
Gabrielle, do you think there's a typical timeline? I think it's pretty different.
It is. I think it's pretty different. Like for us, people start asking for materials and get their awareness day started in January. Some people ask 2 weeks beforehand. In-house, we start working on our Awareness Day publication, our Awareness Day media information probably at the start of the year. We keep it up until the end of the year. We're going to start editing all of the templates we have online. But I think it's different for each person.
Yeah, I would agree as well. Personally, it took me about 3 years to finally get my elected official to join me in trying to get a resolution. And once they were engaged and committed, it took, I think, about 2 months.
Wow, that's really interesting to know. I think it's good for the community to know that. I really want to commend Jason. I know that 3 years is, it's a lot to persevere through, but it's great to hear that once they got interested, it kind of sounded like it happened really fast. So that's really great to hear, and I think gives a lot of encouragement, hopefully, to our attendees to get those awareness days started for their community. We did actually have a couple more questions come in, so that's great. So just kind of your thoughts. Both of you obviously don't have national awareness days, but what are your thoughts about getting a national day honored for your community? You know, do you feel it's hard to get it processed through government on that national level, that ownership level for a national day? What are your thoughts around that?
So I think that you should try it out. I mean, for us, you know, each person does it in their state. I know that working in another nonprofit, when President Obama was in, he did a national awareness month for domestic violence awareness month. So he did a proclamation for that. So I think it's important. Shoot for the stars. If you want to get a national day honored, why not? You know, you want people to know what you're working with and what you care about. So I definitely think it's important. If that's what you want to do, definitely do it. And look at the websites. Go to the president's official website and see what they have there, what the recommendations are, and just keep trying. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I would agree with you as well. Just I think it's definitely a worthy cause, but even more critical to get the right partners on Capitol Hill, and that would definitely be beneficial to have your face-to-face. And you can also do that locally, right? So with the local days on your own or with the RDLA, partnering and developing that relationship.
Great. Thank you so much. I think it's always great I think if we can get some national days out there for some of these rare diseases, I think it'd be really great. You know, it's like you said, Gabriella, you know, just totally shoot for the stars. We love it. So we have one more question that came through, and this is just more of a resource question, but is there a list of awareness days? How did you both know that you didn't have an awareness day yet for a national, state, local level? Where do you find these lists, and how, you know, where can everyone maybe look for them, or is there a database or anything like that for these?
So in my knowledge, I am not sure. I like I said, I started and we already had this established, but I have to imagine in this day and age, you can just Google national nonprofit awareness days or national rare genetic syndrome awareness days and see what's out there, and it will give you a pretty good list just so you understand what's out there, or just go to your web if your disease has a website or an advocacy group and see if they have anything, and if they don't, that's where you can start.
This is Jason. I did the Google route, which it actually worked after a while and some persistence, and I actually partnered with an employer resource group in my company, and I was able to find all of these different national recognition months and actually create a calendar that illustrated all of those months. And I don't have that anywhere publicly, but I can definitely share it with Jane and see if that's something they want to publish or put somewhere on one of their resources.
Perfect. Yeah. So we're happy if anyone who's joining us on our webinar and wants to get connected, or if you're looking for any specific resources, definitely feel free to utilize Global Genes, and you can get in contact with anyone in our engagement team to help you with that. We're happy to help with supplying resources, or again, getting you connected to some of the right people that can help you get on your way to creating your own awareness day for your rare disease. So it doesn't look like we have any more questions, but I just wanted to give it just a couple more seconds in case anyone joining us wants to provide any other questions for our panelists to answer. And again, we do apologize that Sarah got pulled away and wasn't able to present her presentation. Again, she's so happy to answer and get connected to anyone who wants to learn a little bit more about the government process of, you know, getting those proclamations started, or getting, you know, started in your local level of how to get an awareness day built for your community. So if you do want to get connected to her, again, we're happy to make that connection. I believe her information is also in our speaker bio widget. And again, it doesn't look like any other questions are coming through, so I do want to just take this quick opportunity to say thank you to our really great panel. Again, I know Sarah couldn't make it, but thank you so much to Jason and Gabrielle for joining us today. Your insight and your experience is so commendable, and you know, the stories you guys have about how you guys got these awareness days started is so great. I hope that our attendees are excited with Rare Disease Day coming up and are encouraged to start their own Awareness Day events. And, we have the next month coming up, which is the perfect time to get those started. So again, if you have any questions or want to get connected, let us know. We're happy to make those connections for you. And we, again, just want to thank all of our attendees for joining us today. We want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to have to see our attending and creating an Awareness Day webinar. And thank you to our sponsors, Horizon, for helping us put this really great webinar on. We wish everyone the best of luck in creating their Awareness Day and hope that gives you something to lobby for during Rare Disease Day. So again, thank you everyone for joining us.